We go now to motion 19 from Crouchend.
Standing orders have been asked to clarify one point about motions in this section. Now that motion 22 from Manchester has been withdrawn, motion 21 does not have any effect on any other motions. So no other motions will fall based on what happens on 21. It was that Manchester motion 22 that was due to fall depending on that debate that has been withdrawn. I think some people were worried because the numbering was wrong at the beginning of the day.
Thanks for that. Crouchend.
Okay, Andrew Bergen, Crouchend, moving the resolution, or one of the resolutions on Europe. One of the things that Salman Shaheen was asked on the Daily Politics show by Andrew Neil yesterday was, you don't even know whether you're going to be in Europe or out of Europe. And as Salman said, it's up to our conference tomorrow to decide this. And I think it is. And I think what our resolution seeks to do is to locate the basis for our work in Europe with an understanding the nature of European institutions, what they are, but our understanding of our political work in Europe with like-minded parties such as the European Left Party or the European anti-capitalist parties such as the MPA in France. What we decided in our founding documents was that we would work with these parties, we would work with the European Left Party, and that's why we, in our resolution, quote so extensively from their European document, because it outlines clearly the socialist basis for united work amongst European left parties, and we have to be part of that work. There is no British solution to the crises that we face, to the economic crisis of capitalism. It has to be an international solution. It has to have a European basis. And that's why we have to insist against organisations such as No to EU that we have to work with other organisations throughout Europe. That was the foundation, really, of Left Unity. Left Unity came out of a series of European struggles. It came out of work in the Greece Solidarity Campaign. It came out of work in the Europe Against Austerity campaign, and it was on the 14th of November 2012 when 10 million workers throughout Europe took strike action that a number of comrades came together and determined that we would begin the struggle to build a broad left party on the same foundations that they had been built throughout Europe. So it's of fundamental importance that we do that, but we recognise, and West London has made this extremely clear, that Europe and European institutions are not what we are fighting for. They're neoliberal institutions. All the treaties from Maastricht onwards have been aimed against the working class. So our aim is not to support those European institutions, it's to transform them, it's to do away with them, but it's also to maintain what Luke spoke so demonstratively about, to maintain the open borders, to allow the free movement of labour, to defend the rights of immigrants. So we're not for a left nationalist perspective, we're for a broad European perspective, and I ask you to support this motion. Thank you.
Motion 20 from Sullick, Left Unity position on the European elections. Can I ask comrades if they know they're about to be called to speak to make their way to the front?
Joseph Healy from Southwark branch. I'm surprised that this motion is actually in this section because it's more to do with a question of electoral strategy, but it is in this section, so we'll address it now. I think it's very important. We're less than 2 months away from the European election. We've already heard several speakers address some of the major issues which will come up in those elections. I'm particularly concerned about the rise of fascist and far-right parties across Europe, who undoubtedly in the new European Parliament will be in a much stronger position than they are now. But the polls also show that there will be a number of left parties across Europe which will do better than they have done up until now. But I think it is vitally important. We are on the map as a new party, and I saw the interview with Salman yesterday, and the media and so on are watching us. The worst possible message that we could send out at this time is to say that although we're not standing, we as a new party are giving our support to any second party. I think that would be the kiss of death for any radicalism associated with this party. Now, I have addressed in the motion the issue of regions, because I'm aware of the fact that here in the Northwest region there is a particular issue with Nick Griffin and with the danger of a fascist being re-elected to the European Parliament. So this motion would give the right to regions when there are specific situations to address that, as the Northwest have done. However, we as a national party must remain studiously neutral, however, speaking out obviously against far-right and fascist candidates in these elections. But I think, again, it's vitally important that spokespersons speaking on this issue make it quite clear that this is the position of the party, whatever personal position they may hold.
Okay, can I have an indication of speakers wishing to speak against? Felicity, put your hand up first. There's Conrad over there on the far side. Oh, okay.
There's probably very little difference between myself and Joseph in many ways on this, but I do think conference needs to know what's gone on in the Northwest. That we had a meeting open to all members, which took most of the day, and we sat and we discussed in detail what our position was going to be. We have a fascist MEP in our area. Not only does that give confidence to the little street thugs that we have to deal with, it also gives them £1 million a year. Now, we have to defeat Griffin. There's no two ways around it. Griffin's got to be defeated. Strategically, in terms of numbers, the only party that can defeat him is the Green Party. We happen to be fortunate in that the Green Party candidate is both a trade unionist, established and acknowledged trade unionist, and he is a well-known and well-respected anti-fascist. Now, we've said to him that our support for him would be based on the fact of his agreeing to work on anti-austerity and anti-fascist policies, and to be an assistant for any worker in struggle who needs the assistance of the European Parliament, where he would be. Now, we are not supporting the Greens. We actually picketed. The comrade who asked us to do it knows who it was. We went and stood in front of the Greens and handed out leaflets saying we support those of you who was opposing the bedroom tax and opposing fascism. We're not supporting the Greens as such. I'm not asking you to vote against this resolution per se. I just wanted you to know what's going on in the Northwest and why we're trying to fight fascism in this particular way.
I can take 2 more speakers on this before I need to move on. Yeah, Maria. You want to speak first?
Maria Bedaraki from Left Unity Liverpool branch. I'm speaking for motion 19, but my contribution will be a little, you will see. You will see how it will be. I think it's a false dilemma to discuss in or outside European Union. It's a false dilemma. The struggle either in or outside remains the same. We have to defeat neoliberalism. That's our struggle. That's what we have to fight for. So the issue really is, do we align with other workers in other European countries? Do we align with other workers that share our anti-capitalist agenda all over the world? Yes, we do, because we are part of an international struggle. So on basis of that, it's a dilemma, in or out, European Union, but I mean, I will support the motion because we fight with other European countries, workers' movements, and I am from Greece, and you know, I mean, Greece is destroyed by European policies, so I'm not voting for the European policies, but I will be voting for building strong alliances. Thank you.
Against the Southwark motion, I thought that's what we were taking just now, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. My name's Sarah McDonald, I'm from Hackney branch, and I was going to speak against the Southwark motion on the basis that actually I don't think we are completely neutral when it comes to dealing with Labour or the Conservatives, which is what that motion actually implies. I think that we don't automatically say that we would call for a Labour vote in certain circumstances, but by the same token we don't automatically say that we wouldn't. There are some, we wouldn't necessarily call for a blanket vote for Labour. There might be times when you would. But what you might want to do in certain circumstances is put conditions on left-wing Labour MPs, for example, or candidates that were standing, say, are you against local authority spending cuts? Are you against this particular hospital closure? Are you against military action in wherever there happens to be a dispute? I think that's a much more sensible approach to dealing with the Labour Party. I think it's a wrong approach to say, as the Southwark motion does, that Labour Party and the Tory Party are exactly the same. I think you've got to look at it in the concrete circumstances, thank you, in the concrete circumstances of what's going on in any given election campaign.
We're going slightly over time then. So we're going to go to the vote now on motions 19 and 20. So motion 19 is from Crouch End as amended by West London on Left Unity's European work. All those in favour please show. All those against? I won't bother asking for abstentions, looks unanimous. On motion 20 from Southwark on Left Unity's position on European elections. All those in favour please show. All those against please show. That looks defeated to me. Yeah, that's defeated. Okay.